We're doing a series of spotlights on remarkable attorneys across the country with a focus on elder law and or estate planning. Joining me on this segment, representing Central Virginia, is Simon Stapleton. Simon, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mark. Glad to be here.
I know it's a broad topic, so please tell us your specific areas of focus and the types of clients that you help.
Sure, be glad to. So my area of focus within estate planning is elder law, elder care. So primarily I work with seniors 65 and older. So a typical client would be perhaps a couple in their 60s or 70s looking to protect their assets. They may be concerned about healthcare costs, nursing home costs, and they want to protect their assets. So for example, let's say their husband was to go into a nursing home. We want to protect some money so that the wife in that situation would still have money to live on. And typically the way that we do that is with a trust, with what we refer to as an asset protection trust. To protect the assets for the other spouse.
What are some of the dangers of not setting up that protection? Who can come after that money? What can happen?
Well, the biggest danger it really is the health care costs. So, for example, I'm in Charlottesville, which is in Central Virginia. And nursing home costs here are typically $80,000 to $90,000 a year. Even more than that for someone in Northern Virginia. So as you can imagine, if someone gets sick to the point where they do have to go into a nursing home, the assets can be wiped out very quickly, often within a year or two for most folks. That's the biggest danger.
Gotcha. So what are some of the myths or misconceptions that are out there that keep people perhaps from getting their legal house in order in a timely manner?
Well, I think there are a couple of things going on there, Mark. One certainly is procrastination, which I think is human nature. Oftentimes I'll meet with folks and they'll say, gosh, I'm so glad we're doing this. I've been talking about this for years and now we're finally doing it. And that sense of relief once they have their planning in place. Another myth is, which I hear often, is that you cannot do this. You cannot protect your assets. Or no matter what you do, Medicaid is going to take all your money. Another one is my husband or my spouse, my wife is already in a nursing home. It's too late to do any of this planning. And those are all myths. None of those are true. Obviously, just like anything else, it's better to plan ahead. We always say plan when you can. But even in crisis mode, even if there is a spouse already in the nursing home, we can still help protect some, in many cases, still protect all of the money, even with a spouse in the nursing home.
Just by the virtue of the name elder law, it almost suggests that you don't need to do this till you can't do it. So I could see that feeding into the procrastination. What is the right time to get your legal house in order? What's a better time, I should say, and maybe we can recommend a better name.
Sure. So elder law, as I mentioned at the beginning, elder law is a segment within estate planning. But really, the best time to get your legal house in order is now. If you're, let's say it's young folks with young children, those people should at the very least have a will, a financial and medical power of attorney in place. And then as we age, perhaps accumulate a house, some other assets. It's a good idea to at least take a look at a trust. Often folks in their 40s and 50s, they may do a revocable living trust. And then later in life, as I mentioned, perhaps 60s or 70s, folks often look at asset protection when concerns about healthcare costs may rise. Oftentimes, that's the time when folks look at that. But really, it's never any adult. It's never too early to plan.
Simon, what inspired you to focus on the elder law, side of estate planning? How did you get started in this field?
Well, that's a great question, actually, Mark, because it's very near and dear to my heart. I have 3 children, and they're sort of adopted grandparents here locally, Norman and Florence. One day, Norman called me and said that Florence had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's and could I help? And even though I was an estate planning attorney at the time, I realized that I could only be of minimal help to Norman and Florence as an estate planner. So that was really when I started diving into elder law to understand Alzheimer's, dementia as a disease, the whole Medicaid process, how that worked, the rules and regulations there. So I really took a deep dive into all those areas and found that as a result of that, I was able to help Norman and Florence walk their way through that whole process. Sell the house. Florence did eventually have to go into a nursing home, but we were able to do that in such a way that Norman wasn't devastated financially. So I really was grateful for the way that I was able to help them. And since then, there have been many, many Norman and Florences that I've been able to help along the way. It's an underserved segment of the population, seniors, and so I'm very glad. I feel very privileged to be able to work with them and help those folks.
And much needed, especially in this generation. It's almost a silver pandemic, if you will, of people that need this information. So I'm really excited to share this information with folks. Simon, for folks that are in the areas that you can serve in Virginia, Central Virginia, around Charlottesville, how can they learn more, find you, and connect with you?
Sure. So the best way to do that, Mark, would be to go to my website, which is elderlaw-va.com. That's ELDERLAW-VA.com. Or they can call us. The number is 434-293-7788. Can reach us either way.
This has been terrific. Simon, I appreciate you taking the time and sharing with my audience today, and I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it.